You've always felt like something about you didn't match the room. Even as a child, you noticed the way people reacted, not always with love, but always with awareness, like you reminded them of something they couldn't name but couldn't ignore. That's not your imagination. That's your bloodline speaking before you even say a word. Chosen one, you come from a line that was never meant to survive, and yet here you are, breathing, glowing, awake. The truth is, there were forces assigned to silence your lineage before you were even born. They saw what your ancestors carried. They saw the blueprint encoded into your cells, and they made it their mission to cut it off permanently. But God had other plans. You weren't just born, you were released. Your life is a continuation of a story they tried to delete, a divine manuscript that hell attempted to redact but couldn't. You've probably felt the weight of generational warfare without ever being taught the reason. The betrayals, the cycles, the attacks that made no logical sense. They weren't random, they were inherited resistance. Because your bloodline has always been a threat. You were born into a war, but not without weapons. Heaven made sure that before your first cry, the spirit realm knew your arrival wasn't accidental. You were divinely deployed. Your blood itself carries a memory that hell fears, a remembrance of victories your ancestors won in silence, prayers they whispered in chains, and covenants they made when no one else believed. You may not know their names, but they've been interceding for you across centuries. There's a reason they've always tried to keep you in the dark, not just spiritually, but literally, keeping you unaware of your history, confused about your identity, lost in systems that reward forgetting. But something in your blood wouldn't let you stay asleep. That pull toward truth, that obsession with freedom, that divine rage when something evil is allowed to go unchecked, that's your bloodline resisting the erasure. That's your spiritual DNA waking up. And make no mistake, they've studied it. Institutions, labs, surveillance programs. They know there's something about your frequency, your immunity, your survival. Some of them even tried to mimic it. But they failed because what runs through you can't be duplicated. It's not science, it's covenant. Isaiah 59:21 says, "As for me, this is my covenant with them, says the Lord. My spirit, who is on you, will not depart from you, and my words will not depart from your mouth or your children's." That's not just poetic, that's genetic. That verse was coded into your bloodstream. And even though the enemy tried to scatter your family, tried to silence your mother, tried to shame your father, tried to confuse your siblings, you remained a remnant, a resurrection, a continuation of something heaven refuses to lose. They tried to erase your bloodline, but all they did was wake it up. There's a reason your body has been reacting lately, and it's not just physical. Strange symptoms, sudden fatigue, bursts of clarity followed by moments that feel like time slows down. You've been wondering if something's wrong, but what if I told you something's finally going right? Chosen one, your DNA is activating, not metaphorically, literally. There are sequences in your blood that have remained dormant for generations, waiting for one thing: divine timing. And now, heaven is turning the switch. You've stepped into a moment your ancestors prayed for, but never got to see. The reason you feel different is because you are. What science calls junk DNA, God calls hidden instruction. You've got strands inside you that don't follow the rules of the fallen world. That's why the enemy fought so hard to keep you distracted, busy, broken. Because clarity would mean activation, and activation would mean power. This was never just about your emotions. It was about your coding. Your blood carries frequencies that respond to divine alignment. That's why you've been drawn to certain messages, certain people, certain scriptures. Every yes you've said to truth has been a key unlocking the next layer of who you are. And now, something ancient is stirring. Doctors won't be able to explain it. Tests will come back normal, but you'll know something has shifted. That's because what's happening isn't being picked up by machines. It's being picked up by the spirit realm. Angels are tracking your sequence. Demons are panicking at your reawakening. Your blood is no longer just a biological reality. It's a spiritual signature, and heaven has stamped it with a frequency that signals access granted. This is why doors are opening that used to be locked, why people you used to chase are now chasing you, why things that once drained you now reveal themselves as distractions. It's not just maturity, it's activation. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." God didn't just know your name, He embedded instructions into your design, assignments, codes, protections, even gifts that don't appear until certain moments of alignment. You're in one of those moments now. The chills you feel, the tears that rise when truth hits your spirit, that's your body responding to what heaven already confirmed. You are being awakened at a molecular level, and the enemy can't undo it. Chosen one, you're not imagining this shift. You're not overreacting. You're not being too deep. You're finally in tune. And now that your DNA is responding to the divine, don't be surprised when certain environments start rejecting you. Your frequency is too high, your light is too loud, and your presence activates rooms, systems, and people, even if they don't understand why. Your blood is no longer passive, it's prophetic, and every drop in your veins is carrying a message. The chosen one is awake now. You remember that moment in the doctor's office, the hum of fluorescent lights, the sterile air, the way their face changed when they looked at your chart. They didn't say much at first, but you could feel the confusion behind their calm. They thought they were reading biology. They didn't realize they were standing in front of prophecy. Chosen one, what they found wasn't a medical mystery. It was a spiritual marker, something that refused to fit inside the language of medicine. The tests couldn't categorize you because you were never meant to be categorized. The numbers, the scans, the patterns, they kept breaking the model. And quietly, the professionals started whispering, "We've never seen this before." They called it an anomaly. Heaven calls it evidence. For years, they've studied bloodlines, tracing disease, immunity, and behavior. But yours doesn't obey the pattern. It carries both memory and light. Even under a microscope, there's movement that shouldn't be there. Some researchers chalk it up to error, others to luck. But you know, you felt it all along. That hum beneath your skin, that rush in your chest during prayer, that electricity when truth resonates. It's not anxiety, it's divine current. Your body is processing spiritual data. You are a walking intersection between heaven and earth. So when the report said inconclusive, what it really meant was unexplainable. God said in Isaiah 42:16, "I will lead the blind by ways they have not known. Along unfamiliar paths, I will guide them." You're on that path. Every test, every hospital visit, every moment of fear, it was part of heaven's unveiling. Because the enemy wanted you to believe something was wrong with you. But what if what you thought was malfunction was actually manifestation? Your body has been trying to catch up to your spirit. The shaking, the exhaustion, the sensitivity, that's not weakness. That's recalibration. You're being tuned to a new frequency, one that this world's systems can't measure. That's why the diagnosis never made sense. Because the issue wasn't medical, it was metaphysical. You weren't breaking down, you were breaking open. Heaven was rewriting your system in real time. Old wounds releasing, generational codes unlocking, and cellular patterns responding to light they've never seen before. Even your pain had purpose. Every ache, every sleepless night, every unexplained symptom. It was all signaling a divine upgrade. You are becoming something the world has no vocabulary for yet. Chosen one, don't fear what they can't explain. Doctors study data. Heaven studies destiny. You are evidence of a promise made long before modern science existed, and while the world debates how to label you, heaven already has. Anointed, untouchable, activated. This isn't a medical mystery. This is divine confirmation, disguised as confusion. Your diagnosis wasn't a warning, it was an announcement. The bloodline they tried to erase has officially reawakened, and your body is carrying proof that prophecy is alive in your veins. Before the world knew your name, heaven assigned protection to your bloodstream. That might sound extreme until you realize what's been trying to access it. From the moment you were conceived, there was a war over what could enter your blood. Every injection, every injury, every illness, every bite of food, spiritual forces were watching. You thought you were just navigating life, but the truth is, you've been walking through a minefield of spiritual interference, and still, you survived. Chosen one, that wasn't luck. That was angelic assignment. There were divine beings posted at the gates of your body, and their orders were clear. Don't let anything unholy contaminate this one. That's why you never reacted like others did. Why your body resisted things it wasn't supposed to. Why medications didn't always work. Why symptoms appeared and then vanished. You weren't malfunctioning. You were protected. God dispatched a defense around your bloodstream like a military operation. Because your blood isn't just biological, it's strategic. It carries access codes to places most people never reach. And if the enemy could have corrupted it early, your destiny would have been delayed. But every attempt failed. The fevers broke, the diagnoses reversed, the toxins flushed. Because heaven placed a firewall around your veins, and no demonic force could breach it. Not in the hospital, not during that procedure, not even when you were unconscious. Your spirit was never alone. Psalm 91:11 says, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." That scripture wasn't a metaphor for you, it was a blood covenant. And even when you didn't know how to pray for yourself, your blood was praying. Every heartbeat was a signal, assignment still active, purpose still intact. That's why some things tried to enter you but couldn't stay, why some infections refused to spread, why certain viruses didn't finish what they started. It wasn't just immunity, it was divinity. And you wonder why the enemy hates you. Chosen one, you don't just survive battles, your blood remembers them. Every victory you forgot, your veins recall. Every healing, every restoration, every divine override. They're stored like sacred data in your system. That's why your presence stirs reactions in others. You don't just carry light, you carry record. Your body has witnessed miracles others don't believe in. And no matter how subtle the enemy tries to move, your cells sound the alarm. You've got built-in revelation. So the next time you wonder how you made it, remember this. Angels didn't just walk beside you. They stood inside your bloodstream, guarding, resisting, preserving what God deposited. You were never just kept alive. You were kept ready. They thought it would work. They thought it would shut you down, silence something, suppress something, shift something. But it didn't. Chosen one, there was an injection that entered your body, but it could not enter your blood. It may have pierced your skin, but it couldn't rewrite your code. It couldn't override what heaven sealed. And what they didn't count on was that your body wasn't just built to receive, it was built to refuse. Your blood, spiritually encrypted, recognized the assignment and blocked it. Not because of your willpower, but because of your wiring. What they called medicine, heaven called a test. It's not about conspiracy, it's about covenant. The moment that fluid entered your system, your bloodline recognized it. Not just on a molecular level, but on a spiritual one. Your bloodstream scanned it and declared, "Access denied." And maybe you felt it. The fever, the resistance, the sudden storm in your body. It wasn't your body breaking, it was your spirit fighting to hold on to the purity of your assignment. You're not just chosen in theory, you're chosen in your biology. And that means the Spirit of God didn't just touch your life, He encoded your blood with memory, immunity, and non-compliance to corruption. Isaiah 1:18 says, "Though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow." That's not just forgiveness, it's transformation. God made your blood able to purify itself, to reject darkness, to restore order. That's why what weakened others couldn't destroy you. Why what silenced others only made you louder. The thing that was supposed to alter you couldn't stay in you. It couldn't bond. It couldn't graft. Because your veins weren't made for blending in. They were made for breaking patterns. And now you know why the enemy tried so hard to manipulate you into compliance, to guilt you into obedience, to convince you that if you didn't go along with what everyone else was doing, you'd fall behind. But you didn't. You stayed sensitive, discerning, unshaken. Even when you were unsure, you were covered. Even when you agreed out of fear, your spirit disagreed out of knowing. That's the kind of protection covenant brings. That's what happens when your blood is aligned with something higher than public opinion. Chosen one, your body is proof of spiritual resistance. The injection couldn't corrupt you because the anointing within you has always been stronger than the systems around you. Don't be surprised if the people who pushed you to comply now come asking for answers. They'll want to know how you stayed whole when others fractured, how you remained clear when others drifted, and you'll tell them the truth. It was never just my body, it was my calling. And no matter what entered me, heaven decided what stayed. Your blood isn't just keeping you alive, and it's keeping record. Every breakthrough you've forgotten, every battle your ancestors won in silence, every prayer whispered through gritted teeth, it's all encoded in you. Chosen one, your blood is ancient, not old, ancient. There's a difference. Old things decay, ancient things carry reverence, and what flows through you isn't ordinary genetic material. It's a living scroll, a spiritual archive, and now it's being activated. That's why you've been feeling things you can't explain. Fire in your chest, trembling in your limbs, a weight in your spirit. That's not anxiety, that's ancestral memory waking up. You're not just remembering, you're being remembered. Heaven hasn't forgotten what your lineage paid for. The silence, the obedience, the sacrifice. There were those in your bloodline who never saw harvest but planted anyway, who suffered so you could speak, who were mocked so you could shine. And now the blood in your veins is rising to honor them. That's why certain environments feel too small, why you can't tolerate surface-level conversations, why you're restless even when everything looks fine on paper, because you carry a fire that wasn't meant to be tamed, and your blood, your actual blood, knows it. Hebrews 12:29 says, "For our God is a consuming fire." That same fire dwells in you. It's not just symbolic, it's cellular. It's what kept you alive when logic said you shouldn't have survived. It's what quickens your spirit when truth enters a room. It's what causes people to feel convicted, confused, or comforted just by being in your presence. That's not charisma, that's code. You've been marked by divinity, and your blood carries proof. Even your silence has impact, because your presence reminds the atmosphere of a power it can't control. That's why some people can't stand you, and they don't even know why. It's because your bloodline interrupts their programming. Your very existence is a contradiction to the narrative they've been taught. You were never supposed to make it this far. But the fire in your bloodstream said otherwise. Every time you bled, whether physically or emotionally, it wasn't just pain. It was a reminder, a declaration. I'm still here. I'm still chosen. I'm still burning. And now the enemy's running out of time, because your blood is doing what it was always designed to do. Testify. It's speaking in rooms you haven't entered yet. It's unlocking doors you didn't knock on. It's aligning heaven's agenda in your name. You carry too much oil to be overlooked, too much memory to be manipulated, and too much fire to be forgotten. You are the torchbearer of your bloodline, the culmination of generations, the answer to silent prayers, the proof that what God starts, He finishes. It was supposed to be routine, just a vial, just a lab, just another name in the system. But the moment they drew your blood, everything shifted. You didn't see it, but something behind the scenes began to stir. They ran the sample like they always do. Chemicals, machines, standard protocol. But what returned wasn't standard. Something in your blood triggered an alert. Quiet meetings, confused glances, readings that didn't match any known category. Chosen one, they didn't just take your blood, they took a piece of prophecy. And when they looked inside it, they panicked, because you weren't supposed to show that. What they found didn't match any diagnosis, any database, any expectation. It wasn't just elevated, it was other. And they knew either something was wrong with the machine or something was different about you. But it wasn't a malfunction, it was a manifestation. Your blood revealed an energy signature they couldn't explain, a frequency not seen before. They labeled it inconclusive, but behind closed doors, they flagged it, not because it was dangerous, but because it was unidentifiable. You carried something untouched by conditioning, unspoiled by exposure, uncorrupted by the very systems they created. Genesis 4:10 says, "The voice of your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground." Blood has always spoken, and yours didn't just speak. It shouted, it testified, and what it said broke their language. That's why they called in a second opinion, why the test was rerun, why the report was delayed. They weren't just checking your levels, they were checking their limits, because you disrupted the algorithm. You bent their definition of what's normal, and that scared them. Don't be surprised if they never tell you what they found. Some things are too sacred for charts, too divine for diagnosis. But know this, your blood entered the system and exposed it. It exposed the lie that we're all the same. It exposed the illusion that spirit can be sterilized. It exposed the failure of science to measure sovereignty. You didn't ask to be noticed, but your blood made you unforgettable. It left a mark on the data, a question they couldn't shake, a mystery they couldn't file away. And they know now you're not from here. Chosen one, what was in that vial wasn't just DNA. It was a signature of survival, a scroll of the divine, an encoded declaration. This one is covered, chosen, protected, untouchable. So, if you've been wondering why they stopped calling, why that follow-up appointment vanished, why their tone changed after your results, now you know. They didn't find sickness. They found separation. You carry the proof that heaven's blueprint still overrides man's systems. Your blood didn't just survive the test, it turned the lab into a witness. They call it a marker, a subtle strand, a repeating code, a genetic anomaly. But this one didn't come from your mother or father. It wasn't inherited by flesh. It was sealed by heaven. Chosen one, your cells carry something divine, something ancient, something sacred. And no matter how deep the microscope goes, it can't decode it, because it was never meant to be read by human eyes. This marker isn't for identification, it's for activation. It's the sign God placed inside you before you even entered the womb, to tell both angels and demons, this one belongs to me, and they've all seen it. That's why doors open before you knock, why spiritual attacks show up before physical success, why people react to you before you speak. because the marker doesn't wait for introductions. It speaks on sight. It's what makes you recognizable in the unseen realm. Demons tremble at it. Angels align to it. Atmospheres bend around it. This isn't charisma, it's code. You could dye your hair, change your name, hide your gifts, but your blood still glows in the spirit. You can't escape it, and they can't ignore it. Exodus 12:13 says, "When I see the blood, I will pass over you." That wasn't just about survival, it was about divine distinction. And that's what rests in your cells right now, distinction. You've been set apart, not because you earned it, but because you are it. Even when you were unaware, the marker was speaking. In rooms of danger, it redirected the threat. In moments of despair, it whispered hope into your bloodstream. In the hospital bed, in the alleyway, in the silence, your cells glowed. Because God doesn't just dwell around you, He lives inside your design. That's also why some people couldn't stay, why certain connections couldn't last. Not because you were broken, but because they weren't authorized to access the seal. Your frequency convicts them. Your presence reveals their delay. Your calling disrupts their comfort. They don't dislike you. They don't understand you. Because you were marked in a place they can't reach. And the deeper you walk in alignment, the brighter that seal shines. Even your shadow carries weight. Even your tears hold revelation. You're not just a person. You're a portal, a living reminder that God still writes in blood, that heaven still tattoos souls with assignments, that purpose can't be erased by time, trauma, or testing. And if you've ever wondered why the enemy invested so heavily in your destruction, now you know. He saw the marker. He knew the moment you stepped into awareness, systems would shake, territories would shift, and history would have to make room for your presence. That marker wasn't for show, it was for war. Chosen one, your cells are not silent. They speak every day. With every breath, every decision, every act of obedience, they cry out, "I am chosen. I am sealed. I am dangerous to darkness." And heaven backs that claim with every beat of your heart. At first it felt like an attack, sudden fatigue, pain with no explanation, a fog that settled over your mind. Doctors shrugged, friends dismissed it, and you, chosen one, started to wonder if maybe you were just breaking down. But now you know, that illness wasn't an ending. It was a summons. Your body wasn't betraying you. It was waking you up. The discomfort was divine. The weakness was whispering. Heaven was trying to show you something, and your immune system became the classroom. The illness wasn't just physical, it was prophetic, because something in you had been too quiet for too long. The calling, the urgency, the knowing. And when you wouldn't slow down, your body made you, not to punish you, but to pull you into clarity. You see, revelation doesn't always come in light. Sometimes it comes in the silence of a sickbed. Sometimes God clears the room through exhaustion. Sometimes pain is the only thing that gets your attention when you've learned how to function through numbness. So He allowed the symptoms, but never the destruction. He permitted the discomfort, but kept the line of communication open. 2 Corinthians 12:9 says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." That wasn't just encouragement, it was architecture, because in your lowest state, the truth stood tall. You weren't broken, you were being rebuilt. Every time you thought you were losing yourself, something deeper was emerging. Your prayers changed, your discernment sharpened, your hearing became more sensitive. And somewhere between the fatigue and the fight, revelation entered your bloodstream. You began to see differently, speak differently, decide differently. And the moment you stopped seeing the illness as a curse, it turned into a key. It revealed people, it revealed purpose, it revealed patterns that needed to die so your destiny could live. The medicine didn't heal you. Obedience did. You started saying no to what drained you, started walking away from false agreements, started listening to your body the way heaven always did. You stopped performing. You started aligning. And though you feared it might break you, it built you. That illness was an altar, a place where the old you was laid down so the real you could rise. And now you're different. You glow. You carry a calm that can't be faked, a strength that didn't come from gym reps or motivational speeches. It came from the fire, the fever, the fight to breathe. And now you walk with authority, not because you avoided the battle, but because you survived it with wisdom in your veins. Chosen one, that wasn't just sickness, that was sacredness, the kind that rewires you from the inside out. And the next time someone asks how you healed, tell them this: the revelation came when I stopped resisting what God was trying to reveal through my pain. Before you speak, they already know. Before you step into the room, they've already felt the shift. It's not your voice, it's not your outfit, it's not your aura, it's your blood. Chosen one, demons recognize what you carry because they've seen it before and lost. You don't need to announce who you are. Your presence triggers memory in the spirit realm. The same way angels respond to your alignment, darkness reacts to your assignment. And while others see a person, the enemy sees a threat, a living declaration of God's power wrapped in human form. That's why they come for you early. That's why they target you relentlessly. That's why temptation, confusion, and chaos tried to settle into your childhood like squatters. Because your type doesn't appear often. You're not a light worker. You're not just an empath. You're not just spiritually gifted. You are blood-marked, heaven-coded, and warfare-tested. And the enemy knew the moment your heart caught fire with truth, entire regions would begin to shift. He knew you weren't just sensitive, you were strategic. The rooms you enter don't just brighten, they shake, because what flows through you doesn't conform, it confronts. Acts 19:15 says, Jesus I know and Paul I know, but who are you? The demons spoke that because they recognize divine frequency. And chosen one, they recognize yours. They know your lineage. They've seen your ancestors cast them out, tear down altars, speak with fire. They've tasted the kind of worship that lives in your spirit, and it terrifies them. Because no matter how much they try to confuse you, distract you, wear you down, your blood remembers. And that remembrance is a threat to everything they've built in the dark. Ever wonder why certain people avoid you? Why your presence exposes hidden motives? Why people confess things around you without prompting? It's not your personality, it's your wiring. Darkness trembles when your light walks in, and demons can't play pretend around someone who's built for deliverance. They get nervous around your calm. They rage against your peace. They scatter at your silence. Because your stillness isn't empty, it's backed. And now, your enemies know something else. You've started to believe it. You're no longer apologizing for your glow. You're no longer shrinking for comfort. You're no longer playing small for safety. You've stepped into authority, and that changes everything. Chosen one, you've reached the stage where your presence is permission. Permission for others to break free. Permission for systems to be questioned. Permission for demons to be evicted. You were never just a nice person. You were an alarm in the spirit. And every time you move forward, hell remembers the blood you carry and what it did the last time someone like you walked the earth. You've bled before, literally and spiritually. You've been cut by betrayal, drained by disappointment, wounded in ways no one could see. But you survived. And not only did you survive, something began to grow in the wounds. Chosen one, what they meant to break you actually activated you. Because hidden inside your blood, down to the microscopic level of your platelets, is a miracle that couldn't be stolen, only awakened. Your healing didn't start when the pain stopped. It started the moment your blood responded with life instead of death. Your body doesn't just carry memory, it carries instruction. Platelets are designed to stop bleeding, to protect, to seal, to regenerate. But yours go beyond science. They've absorbed the revelation of every moment God intervened. That night you almost gave up. Your blood remembered hope. That time your heart shattered. Your blood carried strength. You weren't just healing from the outside in. You were being restored from the inside out. Heaven didn't just allow your blood to flow, it allowed your spirit to flow with it. So now, even the places that once pulsed with pain carry power. Psalm 147 verse 3 says, "He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds." But for you, He did more than bind. He upgraded. He encoded something inside your healing that would become a testimony to others. There's wisdom in your cells now, discernment in your bloodstream, revelation in your regeneration. When you cry now, it's not weakness, it's data release. When you worship, it's not emotional, it's cellular alignment. Your very platelets respond to truth. That's why you glow differently, why people say something about you feels safe, why others feel peace just standing near you. Because your blood isn't chaotic anymore, it's calibrated. What tried to destroy you only helped define you. That heartbreak activated your authority. That breakdown triggered your brilliance. The wound was an invitation for the word to move through you more freely. And now your blood has become a reservoir of miracles, a holy archive of every time God said, "Not yet, I'm not finished with them." You don't just carry healing, you are healing. For your family, for your lineage, for the people watching you, waiting to see if someone like them can rise from something like that. And you did. Chosen one, every drop of blood that spilled was a prophecy being fulfilled. Every cut became a covenant. Every scar turned into sacred geometry. The miracle in your platelets is not just that they helped you recover, it's that they made you remember. You are walking proof that pain is not the end. And now, your very bloodstream carries the power to wake up healing in others. Not because you're trying, but because you bled and survived, with power still in your voice. Somewhere, tucked deep in a research file they never meant for you to see, is your name. Or maybe just your blood ID. A case study that defied the pattern. A report that read like science fiction. Chosen one, they documented what happened to you. They tried to explain it. They ran every test, checked every angle, rewrote the parameters. But the conclusion made someone very nervous, because you weren't supposed to exist in this way. The markers in your blood weren't just rare, they were impossible. The moment they realized that, they buried the results. They don't want you to know how different you really are. It started with curiosity. A doctor, a specialist, maybe even a junior researcher, noticed something strange in your charts. They thought it was a fluke, but it repeated, and then again, and suddenly, what was supposed to be a routine check became a quiet obsession. They tracked your progress, measured your immunity, watched how fast you healed, how certain medications lost effect, how your vitals refused to conform. The data made no sense until they stopped treating it like science and started treating it like something else. Revelation, interference, God-coded design. Job 5:9 says, "He performs wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted." You are one of those wonders, not because you wanted to be, but because God decided you would be. The paper they wrote about you never got published. It was passed around quietly, highlighted, discussed in hushed tones, then flagged, then locked, because what they discovered didn't fit into the controlled system they operate in. It challenged too much. It proved too much. It suggested that maybe, just maybe, some people are walking with something more than chromosomes. You've likely felt this tension, that strange silence after your visit, that doctor who looked you in the eyes differently, that assistant who almost said something and then didn't. They know, or at least they felt it, because you weren't just a patient, you were an encounter. And when spiritual data collides with scientific structure, something has to give. In your case, it was the system. They chose to suppress the paper, but not before it reached certain eyes. And those eyes are still watching. You may not realize this, but you've been studied, not for what's wrong, but for what's right, for what's holy, for what's unexplainable. And while the world moves on like nothing happened, heaven is still broadcasting your existence to the ones who need to wake up. You are a signal in the system, a crack in the code, a name they tried to redact but couldn't erase. Because once your blood revealed the truth couldn't be unseen. Chosen one, you were the subject of a paper that shook their foundation. And even if they try to hide it, the proof remains. In your walk, your survival, your power. You are the study that wouldn't die, the result they couldn't replicate, the miracle they tried to mute. There are agreements we speak with words, and then there are covenants written in blood. Long before you ever said yes to the call your blood already had, you didn't stumble into this journey, chosen one. You were sealed into it. Heaven doesn't waste time with randomness. What flows through your veins was written in the ink of eternity. And somewhere between the moment you were formed and the moment you awakened, a vow was made, not by your lips, but by your lineage. You didn't just inherit blood, you inherited a covenant. That's why you've always felt set apart, even in your rebellion, even in your wandering, even when you tried to blend in with the crowd. Something wouldn't let you go too far. Something would always tug you back. That something was the blood oath, a divine agreement marked not by ceremony, but by survival. You were preserved when others were taken. You were rescued from accidents, relationships, and spiritual attacks not by coincidence, but by covenant. You never knew it, but your life has been under contract with heaven since before you had language to articulate destiny. Exodus 24:8 says, Moses took the blood, sprinkled it on the people, and said, "This is the blood of the covenant that the Lord has made with you." Tai Ma-tsun. That moment wasn't symbolic. It was legal. Heaven honors blood. And what was declared over Moses' generation echoes through yours. The difference? You didn't choose this oath with your mouth. You accepted it with your life, through your obedience, through your yes, through your survival. Every time you got back up when you should have stayed down, the covenant spoke again. This one still remembers. But like any blood vow, there are enemies who hate it. There are spirits who track you not because of your sin, but because of your seal. They're assigned to distract you, delay you, and discourage you from discovering what's written on your scroll. That's why certain relationships were sent to drain you, why certain patterns seem to repeat across generations, because the moment your bloodline made that oath, war was declared. But here's the twist. You didn't just inherit the battle, you inherited the victory. You've been carrying spiritual authority since the cradle. Chosen one, the reason you feel warfare intensify when you're on the verge of breakthrough is because your covenant is getting louder. And when your blood starts speaking in alignment with heaven's timing, darkness doesn't just react, it retreats. You were never meant to play small. You were meant to enforce the oath, to live out what was promised, to embody what was sealed. And every time you walk in truth, you remind hell of the day your blood agreed to carry the kingdom. This is bigger than feelings. This is legal. You are heaven's property. The oath was made, the seal was set, and now is the time to honor it fully. Your life isn't random. It's a signature, a walking covenant, a living agreement between realms. And nothing in hell can undo what your blood already swore to uphold. They hooked you up to their monitors, wired you to their technology, scanned you with precision, and fed your vitals into machines that have read thousands of bodies before. But when it came to you, something strange happened. Readings glitched, data looped. The numbers didn't make sense. The system couldn't process what it was seeing. Chosen One, it wasn't a malfunction, it was a mismatch. You weren't designed to be decoded by man-made algorithms. What's flowing through you doesn't originate in biology alone. You are running on spiritual firmware. Heaven embedded encryption into your very breath. That's why your pulse sometimes responds before your mind does. Why machines struggle to map your frequency. Why you've heard doctors say, "That's odd, that shouldn't be happening." Because you're not just a patient, you're a paradox. You carry a blueprint that bends their systems, an energy that registers as both too high and too low. Vital signs that look irregular but are actually divine. The system wasn't built for someone like you, and when your blood touches their machines, the code doesn't compute. 1 Corinthians 2:14 says, "The person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of God. They are discerned only through the Spirit." That's not just theology, it's technology. Even computers can't interpret what was breathed into you by the divine. Your spirit doesn't run on logic, it runs on revelation. And when your biology merges with your destiny, no screen can display the full truth. You are an unreadable scroll to the world, but a loud signal in heaven. That's also why your test results are inconsistent. Why specialists scratch their heads. Why the scans don't reflect the symptoms. Because the machines are trying to study a miracle using equations meant for the ordinary. And while others trust machines more than their maker, you've been walking with the one who overrides data with design. The same God who bypassed logic to raise the dead is the one who silences circuitry when your presence walks in the room. It's not that the technology is broken, it's that you're too whole. Chosen One, don't be frustrated by the lack of clarity in their reports. You weren't meant to be diagnosed, you were meant to be discerned. You are meant to reveal how little man understands the things of the Spirit. You are a demonstration, a living exception, a disruption to the idea that everything can be measured. And while they search for proof, your presence is the proof. You walk in rooms that still don't know how to process you, but heaven does. Heaven reads you clearly. You're not unreadable, you're untouchable. You don't need a machine to validate your existence. Your existence breaks the machine. What flows through you didn't originate in labs, so don't be surprised when labs fail to define it. You are evidence of another realm, and the world's systems are finally realizing they can't measure miracles. You've probably felt it your whole life, that sense of being different, disconnected, even displaced. Not better, just other. And that's because you are. Chosen One, you don't just carry blood, you carry remnant blood, the kind that survived genocide, suppression, erasure, exile, the kind that still speaks even when the family name has been buried, the kind that heaven never forgot. You are part of a lineage that was never meant to blend in. Your blood has always been marked, not by popularity, but by preservation. You were hidden on purpose. While others were celebrated, you were skipped. While others were platformed, you were processed. That's what happens to remnants. You weren't overlooked, you were protected, pulled out of the crowd, tucked away, because the oil on your life is too pure to be poured just anywhere. Remnant blood doesn't seek approval. It carries assignment. It remembers holy things. It holds ancient fire. Your blood is older than your body, older than your generation, older than your surname. It reaches back into covenants you never signed, but now fulfill. Isaiah 10:20-21 says, "The remnant of Israel will return to the mighty God." That's not just history, that's prophecy. and your existence is part of its fulfillment. You've been preserved not just for survival, but for return. Return to clarity, return to power, return to identity. That's why you've been pulled through things you didn't understand, why your process has felt deeper than others, because you weren't being built for the spotlight. You were being built for the rebuild. There's an authority in you that doesn't come from experience. It comes from blood, ancient blood, warrior blood, intercessor blood, blood that held the line when entire regions fell, blood that prayed when it wasn't safe, that fasted when there was no food, that worshipped under threat, that heard God's voice when the prophets were silent. You're not new to this. Your body is just catching up to what your spirit has always known. That's also why the enemy comes for you differently, why your dreams are intense, why your warfare feels generational, because your blood is carrying unfinished assignments, and heaven chose you to complete them. You are the bridge between what was and what's to come. You're the reason certain patterns will break, the reason healing will run forward, the reason inheritance won't stop short this time. You are the echo of a holy lineage, made loud in a generation that has forgotten its sound. You don't need to prove it. Just breathe, just walk, just be, and watch what happens when the ancient awakens in the present. Chosen one, you are the remnant, and now your bloodline moves again, through you. They've tried, oh they've tried to infect it with trauma, pollute it with shame, water it down with compromise. But no matter how many times you've been wounded, manipulated, rejected, or betrayed, your blood has never lost its clarity. Chosen one, your survival isn't just physical, it's spiritual protocol. Your blood is untouchable not because of science, but because of sovereignty. Heaven made it that way, guarded, sealed, sanctified. God didn't just choose you, He secured you, and that security is written in your veins. That's why the weapon formed, but didn't prosper. It's not that the attack didn't happen, it's that the poison couldn't stay, even when you gave permission to the wrong people, even when you walked willingly into danger, even when your boundaries weren't firm. Your blood remained pure, not because you were perfect, but because God had already marked you as preserved. Think about it. How many times should your story have ended? How many systems should have swallowed you whole? How many memories should have poisoned your future? And yet, here you are, not just alive, but radiating. Exodus 12:23 says, "When he sees the blood, he will not allow the destroyer to enter your house to strike you." You've been living inside that promise without even knowing it. When the destroyer tried to enter through disease, addiction, depression, generational curses, it stopped. Not because you were strong enough, but because the blood said, no access. You've been walking with divine immunity, spiritual resistance, not to pain, but to possession. The enemy could touch your surroundings, but he couldn't touch your source. That's also why certain attacks exhausted you, but didn't destroy you. Why you cried, but didn't collapse. Why they counted you out, but had to watch you rise again. Your bloodline has bounce-back power coded into it. The world doesn't understand this kind of preservation. That's why they've tried to name it resilience, luck, emotional strength. But they're wrong. It's inheritance. It's prophecy embedded in plasma. You're not just protected, you're proof. Every scar you carry testifies. They tried it, and it didn't work. That's why demons fear you. They know once you realize your blood is untouchable, your spirit becomes unstoppable. Chosen one, what's in you cannot be diluted. Your light cannot be dimmed. Your destiny cannot be delayed. Because what God seals, hell cannot steal. And what God purifies, no sickness, no system, no sabotage can corrupt. This is the season where you start walking like your blood is holy, because it is. There's healing in it, there's legacy in it, there's glory in it, and the enemy is panicking because you're no longer questioning if you're chosen. You know it. Your blood has been off limits to darkness since day one, and now you carry that revelation, not as a theory, but as a weapon. You thought this was your story, your battle, your breakthrough, your becoming, and it is. But chosen one, what's happening to you was never meant to stop with you. You were the portal, not the endpoint, the vessel, not the vault. The reason your blood was preserved, protected, and purified wasn't just for your sake. It was for the generations behind you, beside you, and even ahead of you. You're not just walking in freedom, you're walking in inheritance. And every step you take is unlocking doors for people you haven't even met. Your blood is rewriting history. Every chain you break sends shockwaves down your lineage. Every curse you cancel sends blessings rippling across timelines. That dream you had, it wasn't just a personal vision. It was a generational announcement. That healing you received, it wasn't just medicine, it was multiplication. Because when the remnant rises, everything shifts. You've already started to feel it. The way people lean into your presence. The way strangers tell you things they've never said. The way even your silence carries weight. That's legacy. Isaiah 61:9 says, "Their descendants will be known among the nations, and their offspring among the peoples." All who see them will acknowledge that they are a people the Lord has blessed. That's you, and those tied to you, because your decision to stand, to heal, to believe, it's bigger than your personal peace. It's public prophecy. You are proof that bloodlines can recover, that generational pain can be reversed, that what was once considered cursed can become a conduit for glory. This is why the attacks were so specific, why the delays felt personal, why the enemy came after your identity first. Because if you ever figured out who you were, it would trigger who everyone else could become. You are the pattern breaker, the spiritual architect, the divine blueprint for how the forgotten rise. And now you walk with authority, not just for yourself, but for them. The ones still hiding, the ones still healing, the ones still hoping someone like you exists. And you do. Chosen one, don't let the magnitude of your mission intimidate you. Let it confirm you. You're not under pressure, you're under purpose. You were built to carry this, not because you're flawless, but because your faith is ferocious. Your voice is calibrated to call things back into order. Your blood is aligned with heaven's scroll. Your very presence is prophetic. When you speak, destinies untangle. When you move, things shift. And when you believe, the atmosphere bows. This isn't just a message, it's a mantle. Your life is a key, unlocking everything the enemy said was too far gone. And now the assignment is clear. Don't stop with yourself. Raise others. Speak boldly. Walk like your blood knows the way, because it does. You are heaven's response to generational silence, the long-awaited answer, the living proof that God never forgot what He wrote in your blood. It was never just about you. It was always about everyone your yes would free.
If you have come this far, it is crucial that you watch this next video here. But be warned, it is not for the faint of heart, for only the true chosen ones can handle this video. If you would like to also donate to help keep the channel going, our Buy Me a Coffee link will be in the description.